In today's episode, love is in the air. We've got dodgy gender politics, progressive ideas, monumental gaslighting, fabulous interior design, gorgeous frocks, and sizzling chemistry. It's 1959's Pillow Talk. So welcome to The Problematic Gaze with me, Dr. Lee Arnott.
And me, Dave Moore.
Each episode we take a piece of pop culture from yesteryear and ask ourselves the question, could you get away with it today? And if not, why not? And what does that say about society then and now?
And while we take a deep dive into our chosen topic, we'll also look at the cultural events of the year in question. We'll also look at the pop charts. We'll also look at what was in the movies, in the cinema, on the TV, just to put our chosen show and chosen year into context.
And for those of you not watching on YouTube, Dave was marvellously multitasking there, opening a bottle of bubbles, because it is our episode for Valentine's Day. So we should be celebrating, really, shouldn't we? Even though one of us is bitterly alone with no man in their life. Fuck you with your ring. And fuck me with mine.
Oh, honestly. We're on a date.
Bubbles haven't even started flowing yet.
Are you ready for me to pop your cork?
Yeah, go on. Go on.
Oh,
it's steaming. Look at it.
Well, there we go. Look at
that, darling.
The bubbles.
Lovely.
You can drown your sorrows.
Yeah.
You're a bit like Doris Day in a way, aren't you?
Well, funny you mention it, but yeah, I am. Although I don't get slut shamed for it.
I'm a bit like Rock Hudson. If you squint a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cheers, darling.
Chin chin. Cheers.
Oh.
Cheers.
There we go.
Clunk.
Clink, clunk.
Let's have a little taste of this. This is a new one for us.
Yes. Now, gazers, if you want to set your stopwatches now, answers on a postcard, the exact moment the wheels start falling off.
Yeah. As is our want. Let me have a few glasses of wine if I haven't gone already.
The bubbles have gone whooshed up your nose. Is it true that champagne makes drunk quicker because it's gassier?
Apparently so. I don't know. I mean, I think it makes you a bit lightheaded quicker.
Yes.
As opposed to drunk. Now, if you drink over that, then it depends how many bottles you drink, doesn't it?
I suppose so. Now,
Yeah.
okay, 1959.
1959.
We haven't been back this far for quite a while.
Quite a
have we?
while, yeah. So we're looking at Pillow Talk, which was released in the US on the 7th of October, 1959. Not sure when the UK release date was, but who cares? It's not important, is it? What's your relationship with Pillow Talk?
Okay, I have zero relationship with Pillow Talk. We have watched it now.
Yes.
But I do know about Doris Day and Rock Hudson, that
Yeah.
they made this incredible partnership, sizzling chemistry, etc. Good friends in real life,
Yeah.
and made a series of films together. And they were big box office draw, weren't
Yes.
they, in
Yes.
the 50s and early 60s. And that's all I know
Yeah.
going into this.
Yeah.
What about you?
Same, exactly the same. I realise I've never seen a Doris Day film before, and I've realised I've never seen a Rock Hudson film before. So this was a whole new experience for me. I had a lot of preconceptions about Doris Day before this movie, that she was the nice girl next door, which to some
Yes.
extent was true,
Yeah.
and this movie switched public perception of her. But yeah, this was an unknown quantity for me.
Yeah, all I knew about Doris Day, or my preconceptions about Doris Day, was that she was very cutesy, bit twee, you know. It was
Mom's
not,
apple pie.
yeah, kind of all American, but
Yes.
like traditional American.
Yeah.
Watching this, I was disabused of that pleasantly.
Yes.
But we'll go more into that later on.
Indeed. So before we do you want to tell us a bit about Pillow Talk?
I will. So, Pillow Talk is a 1958 American romantic comedy directed by Michael...
1959, darling.
What did I say?
58.
Okay. Pillow Talk is a 1959 American romantic comedy film directed by Michael Gordon and starring Rock Hudson and Doris Day, with a supporting cast featuring, among others, Tony Randall and Thelma Ritter, who we'll talk about a little bit later as well. The film was written by Russell Rouse, Maurice Richlin, Stanley Shapiro, and Clarence Green. Why can't I just have normal names?
I know. It's Hollywood in the 1950s, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Pillow Talk became one of the biggest hits of both Day and Hudson's careers and reinvented their screen images, with Day being seen as a classy sex symbol and Hudson being more recognised for his comedic chops. Pillow Talk posed a bit of a challenge for Rock Hudson, who hadn't done no pun intended, a straight comedy before.
Wow.
Only dramatic roles like his Oscar-nominated performance in Giant. So he was obviously, an established star at this point, as was Doris Day. Rock Hudson reportedly turned down the role a few times as he found the script too risque and was afraid it would hurt his masculine image.
Wow.
Wonder why he was afraid of that.
Well, yes.
The film was #1 at the US box office for 7 consecutive weeks and was ranked 5th overall in 1959. The movie also received numerous accolades, including a Golden Globe for Day as Best Actress in a Comedy or Musical. The film was also nominated for Best Comedy, and their co-star Tony Randall also got a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Pillow Talk was a huge success at the Academy Awards as well, winning Best Original Screenplay and earning 4 other nominations, including Best Supporting Actress for Thelma Ritter, along with the first and only nomination for Doris Day as Best Actress.
Wow.
So
gosh.
the pairing of Rock Hudson and Doris Day was so successful they starred in 2 further films together, Lover Come Back, 1961, and Send Me No Flowers in 1964.
Right.
So that's the kind of environment that Pillow Talk landed in the shape of Hudson and Day's careers. It was a big success,
Yes.
the awards circuit, big box office draw, and everyone at the time commented on their chemistry together.
Which is amazing to watch, isn't it? Yeah.
It really is.
Shall I tell you what happens in this film?
Do it.
Jan Morrow is a successful New York interior designer who has everything a modern woman could want in 1959. A chic apartment, a sharp wardrobe, and absolutely no patience for men who treat romance like a competitive sport. Her one daily irritation is sharing a party line telephone with Brad Allen, a smooth-talking Broadway songwriter who uses it almost exclusively to flirt with women he barely remembers. Their relationship consists of passive-aggressive phone sniping, moral disapproval, and the firm belief on Jan's part that Brad is everything wrong with men. Unfortunately for Jan, Brad decides the best way to win her heart is not honesty, but an elaborate identity swap in which he pretends to be a sensitive, sex-averse Texan millionaire who respects women deeply. What follows is a battle of wits where deception is charming, boundaries are negotiable and often ignored, and the film bends over backwards to reassure us that love is simply a matter of lying convincingly... I'll try that one again.
Yeah.
And the film bends over backwards to reassure us that love is simply a matter of lying convincingly enough for long enough. By the end, the phones are untangled, the truth is forgiven, and modern female independence is gently folded away in favour of romance. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. So, should we think about the top line? How was this film remembered today? It's the kind of classic rom-com, isn't it? You could argue its influence is still felt in rom-coms to this day. It also seen as helping define what we would call the sex comedy, because it's quite racy for the time, isn't it?
It is quite racy. At the time, it was kind of condemned in some circles for portraying kind of single women who were who had sexual agency, who were sexual beings, albeit in this case, her choosing not to be a sexual, being and everything. So yeah, that was quite risque at the time, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Premarital sex, etc.
Yeah, there's discussions of, absolutely. Obviously, the film cements the pairing of Doris Day and Rock Hudson. There's a bridge, it acts as a kind of bridge between the golden age of Hollywood's romance comedies, things like It Happened One Night, with what we would call the modern kind of sex and rom-coms. It definitely helps codify how modern rom-coms work in lots of ways. And unfortunately, a lot of those rules that we see in modern rom-coms are about deception, control, and double standards for men and women.
Yeah.
Yes.
Comedy of errors as well, dating back to Shakespearean times.
Absolutely.
Mistaken identities, elements of farce in it, etc. I think what's really clever about this film is its narrative construction, because the whole premise is that they don't meet face to face for a while, and when they do, Rock Hudson changes his persona, pretends to be somebody else in order to woo her, because Doris Day doesn't like him in his original form. So there's kind of a lot of split screen going on. They both share the same telephone lines.
Yes.
So you get a lot of scenes with Rock Hudson and Doris Day without them actually meeting, just talking over the telephone, don't they?
Yeah.
But we still see them both sparring with each other because the screen is split, which was really interesting convention.
It's so kind of lovely to watch. I love
Yeah.
a split screen.
Yeah.
You know, I love it, whether it's in Pillow Talk or whether it's in Carrie. You know, I think they're fucking great.
Yeah.
So before we take a deep dive into the movie, should we have a look at what life in Britain? What time did the wheels come off? How long has that been?
11 minutes, 42 seconds.
Brilliant. What life in the UK was like in 1959. Because we haven't got the 60s yet, by no means. For many people, though, daily life is becoming more comfortable. But memories of the war and wartime rationing, which only ends in 1954, are still fresh. I'm thinking about this thing about war memories. You know, on the Sideswerve, I was watching This Is Your Life with Hattie Jakes from 1963, and it talks about her experiences in the war. And the war's like 20 years earlier, but I don't think we can get a grip on, we've talked about this in Dad's Army, how much of a kind of psychological presence the war still has, and actually a physical presence with rationing and things still being very tight and
bombed out buildings everywhere.
Absolutely.
You know, rubbish heaps.
Yeah. So imagine this glamorous, sophisticated movie hits, you know. Most households are modest by today's standards, still got coal fires. Very few places have got central heating. Most places have got a central toilet, an outside toilet rather. So yeah, it's very different vibe, still a bit grim.
Have we accidentally dove into Culture Corner without doing our jingle?
Oh my God, we have.
Do you know what? I might have to curb
those
champagne.
Those wheels have come right off, haven't they?
Yeah, I might have to curb your champagne intake.
You've actually done it more than I have as well. Shocking.
Yeah. Okay, should we just do it now?
It's because I barely touch alcohol. Yeah, let's do it. So, just imagine the last paragraph didn't happen as we go into
Culture Corner. Okay, over in Culture Corner.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us about TV, Dave.
TV was becoming a shared national ritual by this point. ITV had become firmly established alongside the BBC. The TV was now a central part of everyday life. Programmes like Emergency Ward 10 drew huge audiences and helped shape the national conversation.
Yeah, now, we had a reputation for terrible food at this point, quite rightly so, because it was shit. Food was simple and home-cooked. Clothing was practical. Money was watched very carefully. There's a strong sense of routine and community, with neighbours knowing one another, social life revolving around pubs, churches. It's still a very religious country with church-going attendance very high at this point. Workplaces and local clubs or other places where people could meet and foster a sense of community.
Yeah, this was well before everyone just stayed in and just watched their phones all the time.
Absolutely.
You know, even though we had the TV at this point, it was still very much, you got your entertainment from other people's lives.
Yeah, and also organisations, things like for kids, Boys Brigade, Girl Scouts are huge. For older people, sports affiliations, that kind of stuff. It's very, community is important at this point in 1959. Oh, because it was better in the olden days, wasn't it? Oh, fuck off, anyway.
So, you say all this, but at the same time, change was in the air in 1959 in the UK, especially for the younger generation. So we get the rise of coffee bars. And then, you know, the accessibility of American films hinted at a freer, more expressive culture on the horizon. Teenagers had more spending power now. More than ever before, and they were beginning to shape their own identity away from kind of family,
Yes.
traditional family values. Because,
Yeah.
prior to this, not for everybody, but a lot of people, there were 3 generations living in one home, wasn't there? So there was, like you say, it was a sense of this family identity.
Yes. And also the idea that you are going to do what your parents did. You will dress like your parents, or your parents will dress you like them, So this new kind of fledgling teenage identity is super important. Obviously helped by rock and roll, which is, gaining momentum with artists like Cliff. Hold on to your knickers, ladies. With Cliff Richard emerging as homegrown stars who helped bridge the gap between American influence and British identity. The teddy boy style is very big. Long jackets, drain pipe trousers, slicked hair, still prominent. And as you mentioned, coffee bars become hubs for young people, especially in cities like London, or the urban spaces.
And also the Elvis Presley effect.
Of course,
well.
absolutely, absolutely.
Elvis the pelvis.
Well, I mean, Elvis was no Cliff, though, was he? Let's face it.
He certainly wasn't.
No.
Couldn't shake his pelvis like Elvis could.
No, but then Cliff didn't live with his mother for a really weird relationship either. So, horses for courses.
Okay, let's move on. So, cinema. British films such as Room at the Top, released in 1959, marked the rise of the kitchen sink realism movement, portraying working class life with raw honesty that challenged the polished, class-bound storytelling of earlier decades. So this was a huge cultural shift, isn't it, in what people were seeing at the cinemas. We still had the gloss of films like Pillow Talk.
Yeah, we still have the kind of traditional British films, things with stiff upper lip of things like Brief Encounter. That's still very prevalent. Rank organisation. Actors and actresses in the UK are going to the Rank Charm School to be taught to act in a certain way and talk in a proper way, because apparently, well, in films at this point, you're still not supposed to talk with anything other than that received pronunciation. So exactly, Room at the Top and films like it. And tying in with this are the novels and plays written by what were called the angry young men, people like Alan Sillitoe, who are, again, challenging ideas of class and hierarchy, authority and social conformity. It's kind of mind-blowing. I mean, again, but it's kind of, the whole angry young men thing's interesting because it's still blokes being blokes at the end of the day. Their writings often put women very subservient. It's all about Bobby Bid bollocks, just with a working class voice. So although they're challenging hierarchy, they're very much upholding gender norms at this point.
Yeah, well, one step at a time, eh?
One step at a time.
Okay, so we say all this, that there was this movement of the angry young men and better portrayals of working class life, but traditional class structures and social and gender expectations remained firmly in place. So there was still huge deference to authority, such as teachers, doctors, employers, and the government. That was still the norm, but as we say, these cracks are beginning to show.
Yes.
So, I mean, look at today. The government's held in contempt most of the time.
Yes. Yeah.
A huge amount of the population have contempt for doctors for daring to demand a higher wage. How dare they?
Absolutely. And it's not until the early 60s you get the idea of the establishment and actually how damaging the establishment is and who's in the establishment and who isn't. Spoiler alert, every fucking else isn't, apart from posh rich white men. At the general election in October, there's a third consecutive victory for the Conservative government under Harold.
Say that again.
I have to say the whole thing. Yeah. Miracles. My teeth in.
Wheels have come off.
At the general election in October, there's a third consecutive victory for the Conservative Party under Harold Macmillan. His famous phrase, "You've never had it so good," captures this sense of rising prosperity for many Britons, fueled by low unemployment, wage growth, and increased consumer spending. So
it's nice. It's nice to think of a time when people were kind of on the up. Not everybody,
yes,
because there were still huge swathes of poverty, etc.
Yeah.
But for the working classes,
yeah,
it was, your money was going a bit further in 1959. You were out to go, to go to the coffee shops, go and buy records, and then perhaps save there was enough employment there to think perhaps you could get your own house one day.
Yeah.
And all that. I mean, all that's gone to shit now. Looking
Yes.
back at Geordie Shore that we looked at last week in 2011, that social contract is gone, but here this social contract is kind of writ large, isn't it?
Absolutely. So should we have a look at what the biggest movies were in the UK in 1959? So I think this is really interesting for where the public taste is. Number 10 is a Hammer horror, The Mummy, starring Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Interesting at this point, horror films aren't called horror films, they're called horrific films.
No way.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a couple of weeks.
Oh, really?
Oh, The Mummy. Quite a good Hammer, I have to say. Not one of the classics, but there are some really good images. Hammer have only been around. The year before, they've released Dracula, and the year before, they've released The Curse of Frankenstein, which is the first kind of modern colour horror film when you see blood and gore in colour, and it was revolutionary.
Really?
So Hammer are riding high at this point.
That's interesting. And Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, did they star in a lot together, or was this quite unique that they...
No, they did a lot together. Well, of course, they're in the Dracula movies. Christopher Lee's Dracula and Peter Cushing is Van Helsing. So they reappear, I think, 5 or 6 times just in those movies alone. But they're often in Hammers together.
Oh, that's
a lot of movies together. Great mates.
Yeah?
Really good mates, yeah. They have a really lovely relationship.
Okay, so number 9 is Rio Bravo, which is a John Wayne Western. Try saying that after 2 glasses of fizz. It was one of the year's most notable American imports shown in UK cinemas. So Westerns were huge in the UK at this point, weren't they? I suppose it looked quite exotic.
Well, it's also the whole narrative of the white man being triumphant over indigenous species, I mean, we used to play cowboys and Indians when we were kids. That's still the narrative being pushed. I hate Westerns. I find them so dull. So dull. Number 8, Sleeping Beauty from Disney. Widely released in the UK, significant box office attraction. Cartoon, innit?
Yeah. Whistle while you work.
That's Snow White.
No, it's not.
It is.
What's this one?
Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, yeah, they're all the same to me.
Yeah. No, Sleeping Beauty is the one where she just lies unconscious for most of the film.
Right. Yeah.
Maleficent.
Gets kissed by a prince.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't we all? No.
Happy Valentine's Day. Number 7, Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest thrilling spy film was a major international release that drew UK audiences.
Hitchcock is big at the moment. Cary Grant, North by Northwest, another big star in colour, obviously. Number 6, another classic, Some Like It Hot. The American comedy featuring Marilyn Monroe and Tony Curtis was hugely popular internationally and played well in UK cinemas. We must look at Some Like It Hot sometime.
Yes.
I think it's riddled with problems. But it's interesting. As regular listeners will know, I've been listening to watching the Carry On films. And in the Carry On film, well, you remember in Carry On Girls, our episode we did early on, when Bernard Bresslaw puts a dress on, no matter what shape or size the man is, if he puts a frock on and a wig, everyone's taken in. Yeah. Completely convinced. It's almost Shakespearean, it's like that whole thing, like you just put a hat on, you become something, and it's just accepted. I'm not being funny, but Tony Curtis and who's the other one?
Jack Lemmon.
Come on. In one of the Carry-Ons, Charles Hawtrey and Kenneth Williams are dragged up, and they are 1,000 times more convincing than Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon are in this film.
Well, audiences suspended belief
at
this point, didn't
absolutely.
they? Because cinema was just so exotic.
Absolutely.
Just digested everything that was thrown at you.
Absolutely.
Not like today. Okay, number 5. I've not heard of this one. It's called Sapphire, a socially conscious British crime drama dealing with race relations in London. Significant for its progressive themes.
Not heard of it either.
Should we put it on the list?
Yeah, sounds interesting, doesn't it? Yeah. Number 4, Carry On Teacher. Another entry to the Carry On series, released in 1959, well attended in British cinemas. It's a good one. That's the first one with Joan Sims, I think. Or was that? No, it's not. That's another one.
Okay. TBC on that one. Number 3, Room at the Top, which is a key British drama associated with the emerging new British wave cinema and a big box office performer in the UK.
Number 2, I'm Alright Jack. Peter Sellers, satirical British comedy. Not seen it, obviously. Yeah. Number 1, what's number 1?
Carry On Nurse.
Another Carry On. This is Joan Sims' first Carry On.
Is it?
Yes.
So it's the top grossing film in the UK. In 1959, this British comedy was a smash hit with audiences and drew over 10 million cinema goers.
Wow.
Well, we all remember Carry On Nurse. Is that when Barbara Windsor tots out?
No, Barbara Windsor's not for another 10 years before Babs appears. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, yeah. No, she's in 1965, she's in Carry On Spy, but then
Yes.
doesn't appear anymore for another 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Right.
There's no Sid James at this point. It's Hattie Jakes, it's Kenneth Williams, unrecognisable as Kenneth Williams. Charles Hawtrey, obviously, is there playing Charles Hawtrey. Very different vibes, these early Carry-Ons. They're fun, actually. They're really fun. Yeah.
Let's watch some of them. Okay, now, shall we have a look at some music in 1959?
Yes. Rather than focus on a particular week, we thought we might get more of a sense of the year by looking at the top singles, best-selling singles of the year.
Okay.
So let's go to the bottom number 10.
Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, The Platters.
It's got to keep having a fag in my face. Number 9, Lonnie Donegan. He's a big name, isn't he?
Yes.
The Battle of New Orleans.
Okay, Elvis, A Fool Such as I.
Right.
I don't know that one.
No. Buddy Holly is above that with It Doesn't Matter Anymore. These are still big American names in the top 10, obviously.
Yeah. Russ Conway, Roulette.
Yeah. Bobby Darin, next, Dream Lover. He is the 5th biggest selling single. Now, that's a famous song.
Really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, what do you want to make those eyes at me for?
I can't help myself, Dave.
Oh, I know it's Valentine's Day, but, you know, back off a little. This is Emile Ford. It is Emile, isn't it?
Yes.
Emile Ford and the Checkmates.
Right. The 3rd biggest selling single of 1959 was Travelling Light by Cliff Richard and The Shadows.
A lot of these songs fallen by the wayside, not become classics, have they?
Yeah.
Apart from Dream Lover.
Yes.
And Smoke Gets in Your Eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, Side Saddle, another Russ Conway is Riding High.
Yeah, 2nd biggest selling single. The biggest selling single of 1959 was Living Doll by, again, Cliff Richard and the Drifters this time, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, he's doing a Jerry Halliwell, isn't he? He's just spreading himself around the backing groups.
I know what happened to the Shadows.
Yeah. Well, Cliff's dominated the year.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a couple of episodes back about how there's a bit of a sniffiness about American culture. So Cliff was very much part of the British pushback.
Oh, I
against,
see.
So he's our own version of Elvis. And Cliff, by his own admission, does the kind of and the lip snarl, the lip curl. Russ Conway has the highest number of top 10 entries the whole year. He's a big star.
I don't know who Russ Conway is.
I know the name, but it's funny, isn't it? That some survive and some go by the way by.
We should do our research, really.
Adam Faith gets his first big success in 1959. Beautiful
man. Yeah.
Christmas number 1 he has. What do you want?
Oh.
A cock for Valentine's Day, Adam.
What, Adam Faith now?
I think he's dead.
I think he is.
It's all going a bit psycho, wasn't it?
Yeah.
80 singles that year reached the top 10.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a startling fact. That was.
You're welcome.
Don't say we never tell you anything on the problematic go. And the wheels are starting to come off.
They're fine.
We're starting to slur a little and talk shit.
Come it back. Bring it
right
back.
back.
Bring it back.